Guys, so yesterday we talked about the main parts of a plant. You might remember that I had a plate, and on that plate I had lettuce and I had carrots and I had celery. Looked like I was about ready to make a salad or feed a rabbit. Well, after that I asked you to work in your seed journals and show examples of leaves from plants, stems from plants, and roots. So let's see if I can show you here. In my leaves, I have spinach and cabbage and lettuce. On my stems, I used celery, asparagus, and then the bottom part of broccoli. And then for roots, I have a carrot, an onion, and a turnip. Okay, so those were the examples I used. Now you might have come up with other ideas. Maybe you just drew some that you've seen on plants around you and not necessarily vegetables, and that's okay too. Well, today we are going to talk about what the job of each of those plant parts is. Those vegetables, before they have the job of helping us stay healthy, they have a job of helping the plant stay healthy. So we are going to go looking at each of those and discover what that job is. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to stand tall, and I want you to put your feet on the ground and have your legs a little bit apart. I have my legs about that far apart. And I want you to really focus on your feet and trying to keep your feet in one spot. Okay? Now, while you're doing that, ask somebody to come give you a little push on the shoulder. Okay? So with your feet in that one spot, if somebody comes and pushes you on the shoulder, you're going to bend over a little bit, but your feet are going to stay in one spot. You are going to stay rooted to one spot. Okay? And the main job of roots, they actually have two main jobs. One is to keep the plant rooted to the ground or stuck in one spot. Okay, that way, when the wind starts blowing or if there's a really heavy rainstorm and a bunch of water comes on, the plant's going to be able to stay where it is. Okay, plants don't get up and walk around, do they? They stay pretty much in one spot. And those roots, they grow down underneath the dirt and spread out. And by spreading out, they're getting themselves more stable in the ground. Okay, so that's one job of the root. The other job I'm going to demonstrate this way. I have here a glass of water. I'm going to put the glass of water here on the counter. Now, with my glass of water, if I wanted to have a drink from here, let's pretend I can't pick it up. How would I get a drink out of it? If this was glued to the counter, how could I get a drink out of it? Any ideas? What about with a straw? Can I use a straw to get a drink out of this water glass? That works, doesn't it? Okay, I didn't have to move the glass. In fact, it was rooted to one spot, wasn't it? But I was still able to soak up the water into my body by using a straw. That's an example of the other job roots have. They have the job of sucking up the water and the nutrients, such as minerals, from the soil and bringing them into the plant. Okay, so those little hairs, when you pull out a plant and you see all those little hairs on the bottom of it, those little hairs are really more like little straws that reach down and suck up the water and the nutrients that the plant needs out of the ground. Okay, so that gets it up to there. Now, the next thing we want to look at is the stem. And how many of you remember what we did yesterday? I have my celery here. This one's looking really sad. But this celery has been sitting overnight in a glass of red water. And that is going to give us a chance to look at the job of a stem, because celery, as you might remember, is the stem of the plant. Now, I asked you, if you were doing this at home, to choose a piece of celery that still had leaves on it. Okay, and I hope you did that because, and I'll post pictures of this as well, but you can see up close, see how the leaves are looking a little bit red. I'm going to take some of these leaves off. Okay. Do you see the little bit of red in those leaves? Okay, I'll put up a picture so you can see it even better. But that red that's in the leaves is because the water was red. The job of the stem is to carry that water and nutrients that the roots soaked up to all parts of the plant. I can turn this over. Let's see if I can show you guys. Do you see that spot that's particularly red? See that? Okay. It carries the nutrients to all the different parts of the plant so that the whole plant gets what it needs. It's kind of like how the veins in your body carry blood to all different parts of your body. You might prick your very tip of your finger and it would still end up bleeding because the blood carried it all the way to the very tips of your fingers. Okay. So that is the job of the stem. And it's really cool, not only looking at the leaves, but the reason we did this with celery is because celery makes it really easy to see those veins. Remember how I told you our veins carry our blood all the way to the tips? Okay, do you see how the celery has those red lines going through it? That is where it was working to carry the water up to the leaves. It's through these little tiny tubes going through it. And again, I will post pictures of these so you can see them even better. Okay, but that is the job of the stem, is to carry from the roots all the way up to the leaves. Okay, the other job of the stem is to keep the plant standing tall. Okay, sometimes it gets really windy outside, doesn't it? And you might see the plants kind of bending over to the side as the wind blows on them. But when the wind is done blowing, what do the plants do? Do they stay over to the side? No, they stand back up tall. Okay, and this one's looking a little sad. This one's not standing up as tall. And part of that is because it's missing some of the other nutrients it needs. Okay, but when it's getting the nutrients it needs, it keeps it standing tall. The water keeps it strong. The nutrients keep it strong as it carries it up through the stem. Okay, and then finally we have the leaves. And the leaves have their own job as well. How many of you like to help your family make dinner or breakfast or lunch in the kitchen? Okay, I love to cook. I think it's really fun to cook new things. Well, the leaves are like the kitchen of the plant. Did you know that plants can make their own food? We'll actually talk more about that in our next lesson, lesson 4. But a plant is able to make its own food, and the place it does that is in the leaves. It uses a process called photosynthesis. Can you say that? Photosynthesis. Okay, that tells you that it is using light. Photo means light, and light gets used to help make the food. Okay, so they're processing light along with the water, the air, and the minerals that have all been absorbed right there in the leaves in what's called a chloroplast, all these big words, to make food for the plant so it can continue to grow. Okay, So a few days ago, I took some of those extra plants that I planted and I put one of them in my window, right next to the window, where it can get some sunlight during the day. I put one just sitting out in my living room. In fact, you can see it over there. Do you see my little bunny over in the corner? Do you see my bunny? That's the plant next to it, okay? So one is in the window, one is just here sitting in the room, and then one plant I put in a cupboard where it is staying dark, okay? And on our next lesson, we are going to look at those three plants as well as the plants that are in our light frames. And we are going to see how they are affected by the amount of light they are getting and how that can help or hurt the process of photosynthesis and feeding the plant. And we'll see what a difference it makes. So that is the job of the leaves, is the leaves bring in the air, take up the water. They have the chloroplasts where they make food and help keep the plant strong and growing. So we will talk about that more on our next lesson. Okay? Have fun with science. See you soon. I forgot to tell you one more thing. Now that we are done talking about the parts of the plants and their jobs, you need to record the information in your plant journal. So let's look at it again. I'm going to shrink down. I got so excited talking about photosynthesis that I forgot to keep going. Okay, so really quickly, this will be quick. Think about the roots, and can you write down some words about the roots that will help you remember their job, okay? Remember I said it's like a straw. Okay, I'm going to disappear. It's easier for me to write if I turn the computer a different way. Okay, so it's like a straw. That sucks up water and nutrients. Okay, and you can also talk about how this is underground and it keeps it strong in one spot. You don't have to write all these things. Those are just some of the things we talked about. So think about what you can write to help you remember. Okay. Remember, a leaf is like the kitchen. Okay. Makes food. For the plant. Okay. And the stem helps it to stand tall. And carries nutrients up from the roots. Okay, so those were some of our notes. So make sure you finish that page. Okay. And once you're done with that page, I'm also going to post some pictures of what our plants are looking like today so that you can draw a new picture to show it. And I will even send you a picture with a measuring tape next to it so you can see how tall it's getting. Okay? Sounds good? Okay, this time it really is goodbye. I'll see you guys later.